Okay, so let's find a comfortable seat. As always, I'm going to sit up on a little bit of height. I'm going to sit cross-legged. You might choose to sit in some other fashion. It's all good. And then as we always do, heels of the hands on the upper thighs, a little press down, lean forward. And then we've been playing around a little bit. If the wrists are feeling tender or irritated, you could always just use the knuckles of your fists to do the same action without getting any irritation into the wrist. So it just depends on how your hands are feeling this morning. And it's as much about creating this space in the hip joint, pushing the femur bones down. And I feel like the little bit of rocking forward and back has sort of a soothing effect on us. So our nervous systems get a little entree into where we're going. And then we can also go side to side, pressing into one thigh, leaning away, turning to look up at the sky, and then back through center over to the other side. And just going a little back and forth as it feels good to you. And as you feel ready, coming back to neutral a couple of times, running the heel of the hand or the knuckles down the thigh towards the knee, working your way around the leg. Working your way around the leg, just ironing it out, touching your body, getting in communication with this physical structure. Nice, and then hands to the side ribs. So I've got my thumb around the back of the rib cage, kind of like I'm holding something up, but if that didn't feel comfortable for any reason, you could have the whole palm of hand, thumb included, along the frontal rib cage, just lifting the front ribs. But if you can lift the side ribs up, it's almost like you're trying to wiggle a cork out of a bottle, and you might even get a little wiggle, little jiggle in there. It can feel nice. And then any amount that feels reasonable, we're going to turn from left to right. So you just see, where can you go? How far can you go? Turning from one side, turning to the other. Noticing what's available. Nice. And coming back to neutral, let's inhale the arms up in a wide V, arms just above the horizon line. Descend the tailbone, lift the sternum, and then any amount, I'm taking the thumbs towards the wall behind me. I'm going gently, I'm going slowly, I'm stretching through all 5 fingers on each hand. Right? And if you've got any tension along the chest, your arms might be a little bit forward. Others, perhaps you're really able to go for it, like the shoulder blades are going to touch behind your body. Take another inhale here and then exhale, float the hands down. You're either landing the back of the hand, or if you've been feeling really overwhelmed, lots of energy coming in, you might do palm of the hand down. It's not quite so hot today. You could get away with that. And then finding length in the spine, lifting from the base of the skull. Perhaps the eyelids could come to touch. Gently touching bottom eyelid to top eyelid. Finding yourself here, tailbone very heavy, shoulder blades heavy, collarbones broadening, navel back. All these little landmarks, all these little adjustments. Anatomical destinations, if you will. Pubic bone to belly button. And then balance the skull on top of the spine. Are the ears equidistant to the floor beneath you? How is it in the throat? The jaw? Can we relax the cheekbones, the bridge of the nose? What is it like to land here this morning? Soften the eyebrows, soften the forehead, relax the skin at the temples, and then find your breath. Find your inhalation, find your exhalation. Can we be so fascinated by our own respiration that anything, everything falls to the side? We're able to find our own rhythm. And it's that rhythm we can come back to again and again and again. Letting go of everything else. Then as you feel ready, bring the hands together in front of the heart. Palm against palm, fingers elongated. Lift the sternum to the base of the thumbs. Broaden the collarbones. Preparing to make sound. Chanting the sound of Om together 3 times, and then our invocation. Go ahead, exhale fully, let go of all the breath you currently have. Then inhale fully to begin. Om Sahana Bhavatu, Sahana Bhunaktu, Saha Viryam Karavavahai, Tejasvina Vaditamastu, Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, chin comes towards the chest. Take a moment. Notice your internal landscape. What do you need from your practice this morning? And it might not be that any word bubbles up or any real concrete plan comes to the surface, but you're just investigating. Is there a little inkling, a little intention, a little preference for one thing or another? And then letting the hands come to the lap, let's start to flutter the eyelids open, and then on an inhalation, lift the gaze and look wide, right? Annie and I have both been trying to remember to do this. You know, it's wonderful to be able to be virtual on the computer, but it's also wonderful to look outside or in your room at beauty, at art, whatever you have there. And then coming back to neutral when you feel ready. Let's extend the legs in front of us, ironing them out from root to shoot, from hip to ankle. Really get in contact here. This is pushing energy from the center to the periphery, right? It's an opportunity to get a little massage in, an opportunity to touch the body. And especially if you have been inactive or active, right? I've been much more active myself, and I find that my body needs more attention, but I think that's also the case if you've been inactive. I think really the takeaway here is that the body needs attention, and it's up to us to give it. And so squeezing and squeezing, giving it lots and lots of love. Beautiful. And then hands behind beside as best you can. Lift and spread the collarbone, pointing and flexing the feet, right? And it might be up on fingertips, or if you need a little more height under the hands to release any tension across the chest, you might put blocks under the hands. It's really just up to you. Pointing and flexing, lots of sandal wearing, barefoot walking this time of year. It behooves us to take care of our hooves. Come to the center of the heel. Let's invert the foot. So inner edge forward, outer edge forward, going back and forth. Nice full inhalations, complete exhalations. And then coming back to neutral, let's squeeze and release the toes. Squeeze and release the toes. Breathing, breathing. And then big toe up, 4 toes down like you're hitchhiking. And then big toe forward, 4 toes back. And then you're going back and forth, gentle, gentle. Oops. My toes got confused. Beautiful. Nice. And then let's go ahead. We're going to do a little bit of a foot massage. So pull in your favorite foot, draw it in, and let's interlace the fingers with the toes. We haven't done this in a while. I think it's a good morning to do this. Interlacing the fingers with the toes and then getting the thumbs into the sole of the foot. Now, if your knee is sort of hanging in space and it's not feeling quite right, you can always put a block underneath the knee, or you could even put your block underneath your foot if it doesn't feel good to have it up on your opposite thigh. It's really up to you. But weaving the fingers between the toes gives us a little space, and then using the thumbs to investigate, irrigate, stimulate all these 8 words, the bottom of the foot. Release any tension in the jaw. Right? I think we switch between different pairs of shoes during this time of year. You know, you go from one set of sandals to another to barefoot, and the feet, especially in the very beginning, right? We're just kind of a couple of weeks into the warmer weather. The feet get a little tired. They need a little love. All my bodywork clients this week have been like, please work on my feet. So I think that's important. Gorgeous. Don't forget about the heel bone. It's kind of nice to take the thumb and the index finger and kind of go back and forth on that heel bone. Gorgeous. Give your foot a little bit of a squeeze and release. Point and flex again just to see the difference between the sides. Nice. And then we'll do the second side. So whatever side you haven't worked on yet, come inside that knee, get the foot up on the thigh or block, prop the knee if you need to, and then weave the fingers between the toes. Get in there. And then use the thumbs. And don't be surprised if this foot feels different than the first foot. That's very common. One foot does a lot of the work sometimes, right? I don't know about you, but I have a tendency to stand on one leg, a little bit like a flamingo. And so it's nice to give the feet attention and kind of feel what's going on. It's also nice to figure out how to stand on both feet at the same time. So it's something we're all working on. Notice if massaging the foot's causing tension in the jaw. Yeah, it's kind of a curious relationship there. And then if you haven't yet, definitely get into the heel bone. A little heel bone love, useful. Nice full breaths, big inhalation, complete exhalation. Beautiful. And then give the foot a little squeeze, and then we'll release. Once again, we'll point and flex just to see what changed, what shifted. And then bending the knees one at a time. Feet come to the mat. We'll take the knees side to side. Take the knees side to side. Stretching the inner groin, stretching the inner thigh. Nice. And then let's go for it. Let's do chest opener over blanket and block. And if this puts too much pressure on the skin or flesh of the chest, you could always also put blankets underneath the arms. But let's roll one blanket up into a nice tight blanket roll, taking that horizontal across the mat, flat block for the head. And then we're coming to lay down, wanting the bottom tip of the shoulder blade to be right on that blanket. Block under the head, arms out in a T shape. And again, if it was too much strain or stretching on the frontal plane of the sternum, the chest, that area, I could put blankets underneath the arms to kind of help out. But back to the hands are on the floor. Do any kind of sorting out actions that need to happen here. Right? You might be gently taking the knees from side to side. You might take the head a little left and right. Depends on what feels good for you. And then if the low back is okay with it, You're welcome to extend the legs onto the earth. Inner thighs heavy, big toes rolling towards each other. If that didn't feel good in the low back for any reason, we could take the feet wide, bending the knees, bringing the feet to the outer edges of the mat, turning the big toes in towards each other and letting the knees fall into each other. It's just really personal preference here, noticing what the body wants, trying not to fight against it, right? Doing a lot of work at trying not to fight with reality, right? That's kind of the work of us yogis. Can we live with the reality we're in? And then pubic bone to belly button, navel to spine. Taking just a few breaths here. If there's any tension in the neck or shoulders, this is an excellent place to take the head from side to side. Because of that block, you get a little bit of traction through the sides of the neck, can be quite nice. Then from here, if it serves you, you're going to lift the arms up towards the sky, take opposite hand to opposite forearm, and then either take the forearms clear over the crown of the head to rest on that block, or if that feels like too much today, you rest the forearms on the forehead. Or if it all feels like too much today, you just keep the arms in that T shape. You're still getting plenty of lift through the sternum, plenty of action in opening the lungs. And then we're just breathing here, friends. Just inhale, exhale. Relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the jaw and throat. Little energy in the legs if they're extended. Right? Inner heels reaching, feet lightly flexed, inner thighs heavy. Everyone turns the lower frontal ribs down gently. Nice. And then on your next inhalation, you're going to reach your arms towards the wall behind you if you have them folded, palms of the hands facing each other. So if they need to be, they could be quite wide. Others, maybe the ears and the biceps are having a relationship. And then as you exhale, you'll fold the opposite arm on top. And again, you might be using your forehead. You might be using the block behind you. You might still have your arms in a T shape. All of it is valid. Long, full, steady inhalations, complete exhalations. Soften the throat, relax the eyes. Another few breaths here, just letting the imprint be made. And then exhaling, arms go out and down into that T shape. Everyone bends the knees now. Feet mats distance apart, and I want you to go slow here as you start to take the knees and the head in opposition. It's possible you'll find an angle that feels really useful and you want to stay. I highly recommend it. Right? If it feels good, if you need a little more support, you could always take a bolster underneath the outer thigh. Going a little bit slower here this morning, just giving ourselves an opportunity to ease into these actions. If it's the upper back that needs attention, you might be getting a little more rocking from side to side, focusing on the thoracic spine. Just depends. Right? You are the kind of observer of what's happening, so you can really focus and hone in on what needs to happen. And it might even be something that I haven't described or that is hard to describe, right? You're just kind of in your own body getting that opportunity to really kind of wring it out in any way, shape, or form that it feels like it needs to. And then as you feel ready, you'll roll all the way to one side. Use the hands to help yourself up, help yourself out. We're actually going to come to hands and knees here, and I'd like you to have a couple of blocks nearby. If you need padding underneath the knees, you could absolutely use your blanket, otherwise put it to the side. And then we're going to come to be in our stilted table here. All right, we're going to stretch our legs with some lizard pose variations. So from here, we're going to take the left foot forward in between the blocks, and let's get a little bit of the rocking horse going, or I call it the porch glider, where we let that left knee come forward over the toes. You could lift the chest, lift the gaze, and then as you exhale, the hips swing back. And if you want to lift the left ball of foot off the floor, you can absolutely do that. So just using a little bit of dynamic movement, getting into the hips now, into the legs. If there's too much pressure on that back knee, you could tuck the back toes under and lift the knee off the floor. You'll get the same benefit, but with no pressure on the back knee. Otherwise, back knee is down, pat it if you need to. Gorgeous. Then bring yourself to neutral. Listen carefully. You're going to pick up your left block and heel toe your left foot out to the left. You're going to let the toes point in the direction of the knee. So if you've got your left knee out to the left, your toes need to be pointed in that same angle. Because our next step here is to let that knee go quite forward. So I'm letting the hips come towards the earth. I'm letting the knee go directly over the toes. If I need to adjust my back knee, I absolutely can. If I need to add more padding, I do it. And then we get to figure out where we want to be here. So staying up on the hands on the blocks, really nice place to be. Others might feel like they could go a little lower, so you might even take your blocks down a notch. So now my blocks are on their medium aspect. As long as you can keep your upper back long, sternum lifted, you can really go down as far as you want. Indeed, other folks might find that they could flip the blocks flat. You might get to a point where you've gone too far, you need to back up. That's fine too. And then we're keeping the sternum lifted, shoulder blades down the back. And then you're welcome to stay here, or anyone who wants to could indeed tuck those back toes under and lift that back knee off the floor. Now that's a little bit more of a strengthening pose. If it feels like too much today, you just always know you can go in reverse, right? So you can bring that back knee down if you needed to. And so you're finding wherever you need to be, right? There's kind of a dish for everyone. It's like being at a buffet. Gorgeous. From here, we're going to back out slightly, and this might be where you're back on your tall blocks. But then I want you to flip the block underneath the right hand flat. Take your left hand to your left thigh. Let that left knee move forward again, and then drape the right side of your body towards the floor. As you start to look out over your left shoulder, maybe you're even trying to spy, could I see my right foot out of the corner of my eye? Yeah, it's a big stretch. If the left knee wants to start to rock out to the left, you're moving more towards the outer left foot, that's okay. And then eking our way out of it. Last bit of work here. We're going to pick up the left block, heel toe our left leg in line with the left hip. So now blocks are back on either side of that left leg. And then I'm straightening the left leg so we can bow down, right? So now it's about the hamstring. I'm lifting the sternum any amount, bowing down, trying not to lock that left knee. So it really helps to kind of dig the back of the heel into the mat. That'll give you that little secret bend. It's almost like you're trying to suck that left femur bone into the hip socket. Gorgeous. And pushing up, pushing out. That left knee comes back, and I've got two options for you. So if I am not weight bearing on the arms today, I'm going to take my two medium blocks underneath my hands and start to take my hips back towards my heels, towards kind of it's a version of child's pose, but it's a fairly active, supported version of child's pose. So I'm letting my hips go towards my heels. I'm keeping my head in line with my biceps or slightly above. I've got my hands on the blocks, right? So I get to kind of titrate how much I go down. Others, downward facing dog. I plant the hands, I tuck the toes, I lift the hips up and back. I notice the very real difference between the left side and the right side. We've only done one side. So feel into that asymmetry that we've developed. It's fine, we're going to fix it. But for the moment, right, it's there. You feel it even in that modified Balasana child's pose. If you're in your downward facing dog, you're reaching your heel bones down and back, really pushing the floor away. And then exhaling. If you're in downward dog, you come down. If you're in child's pose, you come up. And then we switch to the second side. I'm turning around just so you can see the active leg. You don't have to. Beautiful. So I've got my tall blocks underneath my hands. I'm going to take that right foot forward in between the blocks to start. And we get a little bit of that rocking horse action where we let the hips go forward, then we let the hips go back. It's just a little bit of light movement. We're not going to the extremes in any direction. We're just greasing the hip. We can always pick up that back knee if we need to, right? The actions stay the same. Just the back knee isn't on the ground. And if my back knee is feeling a little fatigued or it feels better to have it up, that's absolutely how we can work. But take plenty of padding if that back knee wants to be on the floor but is feeling cranky. There's always ways to work with it, right? Beautiful. All right, then coming to neutral. We're going to take both blocks inside that right foot. They're still shoulders distance apart, which means I need to move my right foot off to the right. Toes are pointed at an angle. That's so that when we bend the knee goes over the toes. Beautiful. And this side might be different than the first side, so give yourself the opportunity to figure it out. Do I want lower blocks on this side? Maybe. I have to adjust the back knee. I do that by pressing into the top of the foot and lifting the knee off the floor. Kind of gives itself an opportunity to reset. And then you even have the option, anyone who wants to tuck the toes under and lift the knee up for the full pose. Right? Lifting the heart through the biceps. Nice full breath here. Soften the jaw, the teeth, the tongue. If the back knee is lifted, really think of straightening the leg. Yeah, it's powerful work here. Another full inhale, complete exhale. And then if the back knee is up, we let it come down. You might come back onto tall blocks for a moment as you eke your way out of the pose, but then I'd like everyone to have a flat block underneath the left hand. Right hand comes to the right thigh. And then any amount, you're draping that left side of the body towards the floor, turning to look over the right shoulder. Maybe you can see your back left foot, maybe not. If the right knee wants to start moving out to the right, you can go for it. You might be on the outer edge of your right foot. Nice, and then bring yourself back up. Tall blocks underneath the hands. Let's pick up that right block and heel toe the right foot back in line with its own hip. We're flexing the foot, which means the back of the heel is into the mat. And then it's this little hugging of the thigh bone into the hip socket to give you that secret bend on that right knee. We're inhaling to lengthen Then exhaling to bow any amount over this leg. We're just seeing what happens, right? It's all an experiment. Might be different than the first side. Shoulder blades down the back of the neck nice and long. Beautiful. Breathing. Nice full inhalation, complete exhale. And then using the hands to help, coming up, coming out, taking that right leg back, and then we've got our two options. So maybe we're doing the medium block under the hand version of child's pose. Maybe the blocks need to be wide. We're just seeing what happens. Others, no blocks under the hands. Hands plant at the outer edges of the yoga mat for a downward facing dog. Giving yourself a chance to inhabit whatever version you've decided on. There's no wrong answer here. So if you chose child's pose, it's fine. If you chose downward dog, it's fine. Breathing into the hips. Noticing jaw, teeth, and tongue. And then we're going to make our way to standing. And really how you go about this is up to you. So if you're in downward facing dog, you might come to Uttanasana. You might hang out there. If I was in child's pose, I might just find a way to come up, and I might also touch Uttanasana. Why not? Big toe ball mount, outer heel pressing, unlock the knees and let the torso drape. Gorgeous. And then thumbs in the hip sockets. Hook the hips back to lengthen the spine. Inhale to get long. And then exhale, navel to spine brings you back up to standing. Yay, we made it. If it feels okay in your body, go ahead and roll the shoulders forward, up, back, and down. Forward, up, back, and down. Giving yourself that opportunity for shoulder mobility. Beautiful. All right, I'd like to work with a little bit of balance this morning. So I have to step to the part of my floor that's not slanted into the living room. So I'm finding a flat part of my floor to stand on. Perhaps you need to too. And then feet are hips distance apart and parallel. And I want you to lift and spread the toes. Lift and spread the toes. Don't lock the knees. Navel is neutral. Tailbone is heavy. So all 10 toes are lifted up. Go ahead and put just the big toes down. Inhale, exhale. Lift the big toe. Put the pinky toe down. Pinky toe up, big toe down. Relax the jaw. Big toe up, pinky toe down. Pinky toe up, big toe down. And now this is a little challenging. I want you to leave the 3 middle toes up as you bring the pinky toe down. So just big toe, pinky toe down, 3 middle toes are up. Notice if you stopped breathing. And then exhale, release. It should feel like your feet are super glued onto the mat now. It should feel very, very stable. So working with balance, if you need to take a hand to a wall or the back of a chair, feel free to do it. But we're going to start to bring the weight into our right leg. And I want you to notice there's a tendency when we bring the weight into the leg for the hip to kind of go out to the side. So I want you to locate your greater trochanter. It's that little bony outcropping on the outer thigh. I want you to think of bringing in from there. So it's like you're sucking the greater trochanter into the thigh bone and then lifting straight up through the crown of the head. Gorgeous. And taking your hands to your hips, you're going to start to do little touch and goes with this left foot. So you're going to peel the left foot off the floor, come to the very tip of the toe, and then you're just going to lift and return. Here, I'll turn to the side. So I'm drawing up out of that right leg, right sole of foot, very firm on the floor. Just doing these little touches and goes. This is kind of standing abdominal work as well. So think of engaging navel to spine, pubic bone to belly button. It might even help to take a hand there and lift up and back. right? Almost like you're giving yourself your own little, I don't know, it reminds me of those belts they wear when they're moving furniture, right? You're kind of giving yourself your own little lift assist. That might mean that our legs are furniture. Why not? So you're lifting and returning. Reach up through the crown of the head, breathe. And then perhaps you start lingering at the top for a moment or two, lifting the knee, pause, bring the toes back down, lift the knee, pause, bring the toes back down, good job. And then could you pause for real, hanging out, not pause, and perhaps circling the left ankle a few times in one direction, a few times in the other, navel back, crown of head reaching, breathe. Soften the jaw. Nice, and then step out of the pose. So you're gonna step onto that left foot and take a little walk around your space. Noticing right side, noticing left side, breathing, inhale, exhale. Rolling the shoulders down, any little movements, maybe you're dancing around your room a little bit, that would be great. And then let's work on the second side. So now I'm planting the left foot, and because right side was a little different, we went straight from the toe exercise into the balance. But here we're starting off kind of on a new foot. So we have to plant it well and think of spreading those toes. You want to really think of that suction cup effect, that stabilizing effect that we had before. And then we're starting to pour the weight into that foot. But look, I felt it in my own hip. As I poured my weight, my hip went out to the side. So I've got to draw it in, draw it up, lifting through the crown of the head, hugging the muscles to the bone, hands to the hips to start. And then we're picking up and replacing. Again, I'll turn to the side. Picking up and replacing. Little touches and goes. Can you be so light on the tip of the toe that it's like you're barely touching the ground? Shoulder blades down, crown of head lifting, navel to spine. I know I'm a broken record. Find your drishti, your single point of focus. Right? We have to be laser focused here. Nice. Gorgeous. Little wobble is okay. And then can you get those pauses in, right? You come up, you pause. And then down, up, and pause. And then down. Maybe you have a hand on the abdomen to help you engage through the lower abs. Gorgeous. And then let's pause for a moment to circle the ankle. A few times in one direction, a few times in the other. Breathing, inhale, exhale. One side's harder than the other, that's okay. Nice, and then stepping out. Step out of the pose, take a little walk around. Breathing, noticing. Gorgeous, and let's take something symmetrical. So we're gonna take the legs wide for Upavistha Konasana. I want you to have your blocks underneath your hands. I'm just switching my camera so we can see what's happening. So I've got the backs of my heels lined up with my yoga mat edge. That helps me to know my feet are in the same plane. Then I'm turning my big toes towards each other slightly, suction cupping the outer edge of the feet to the mat. Then we have to hug our knees up, up, up onto the thighs. Keeping the weight balanced between the ball of the foot and the heel, we're going to walk the blocks any amount forward. And so your blocks might need to be wider than shoulders distance. Maybe you can have them shoulders distance. We don't know. We're trying it out. Inner thighs spiraling towards the wall behind me. I'm pressing into the palms of the hands to lift myself up and off of the shoulders. right? So I'm not hanging in the shoulder joint, finding this kind of levity from the strength of the hands. Then we're going to take it into the side body. Any amount. We're going to walk the blocks over to the right. Walk the blocks over to the right. Might just be a small couple inch walk. Others you might be able to go quite a lot. Then that outer left hip needs to pull back, back, back. Everyone going at their capacity. No more, no less. Navel to spine even here. Breathing into those left lungs. Gorgeous. And then walking yourself back through center, all the way over to the left now. Planting the hands well. Outer right hip moving back, back, back. Only to your capacity. Stretch the fingers. Maybe they're lifting up off of the blocks. And then walking the blocks back to center. We're going to walk them in to create the platform for the head. Maybe it's one flat block. Maybe it's no blocks. Still lifting the kneecap, still spiraling the inner thigh. Shoulder blades moving away from the back of the neck. So it's like the shoulder blades are sliding up into the back pockets as if you had them. Still heavy in the feet, big toe ball mound, outer heel. Inner arches are lifting. Then hands come underneath the shoulders. We heel toe our feet in, coming down onto our back body. So one knee at a time, we lower to the earth. Then we're rolling down onto our back. And so the height you choose to go under the pelvis is really personal, I think, but see what you can do. It's either one flat block or two flat blocks on top of each other. Or maybe it's one medium block. It's up to you. Press the feet, lift the hips. Slide the block or blocks underneath. Then I'm pressing the elbows down. I've got the chest domed, and so this might be if there's too much pressure in the chest, that might mean I'm on one flat block, right? You're just seeing what works for you, being very careful if you're protecting parts of your body today. And then arms are down by your sides. Backs of the hands are there, palms of the hands open to the sky. You might choose to stay right where you are. Right? Little Setu Bandha, bridge pose. Others, you're going to Viparita Karani by drawing the knees in towards the chest and pressing the feet up towards the sky. Still rolling outer, upper arms down, down, down. Back of the neck is long. Perhaps legs together as if they were one leg. Abdomen is soft, throat is soft. It's nice to be able to hang out in these inversions, especially in the warmer months, right? The inversions are considered to be cooling poses. Then on an exhale, slowly, slowly bending the knees. Slowly, slowly bringing the feet back to the earth. Pressing the feet down, lift the hips, take your blocks out, roll down the spine one vertebra at a time. And then on an exhalation, draw the knees into the chest. Give yourself a hug, a little rocking from side to side. Nice. And then let yourself roll all the way to one side. We're going to come to sit together, and so you're going to determine how much height you need underneath your pelvis. I'm going to use a blanket. You might choose to use 2 blankets. You might choose to use your bolster. We're going to work with our Janu Sirsasana, so you might also want to have a strap nearby or a block nearby or both. Gorgeous. Let's start in Dandasana, staff pose, legs extended, very similar to what we had in the beginning of class. Ironing out the leg from root to shoot, getting in contact once more. Nice. Beautiful. And then we're going to come inside the right knee. So we're going to hook the knee out to the right. So it's very different. Actually, we haven't done this in a while. Do this experiment. So instead of that, bend the right knee, bring the right foot to the floor, and then let the right knee fall out to the right. And just feel what that feels like. Okay? And then help the right knee up, extend the right leg forward. Now, instead of doing that, hook your finger inside the right knee and hook the right knee out to the side as much as you can. And then reach down, catch the ankle, and slide the foot in and see if that isn't a very different experience, right? Because the hip was relaxed and in this kind of flow the whole time, you get much more depth in that leg. Now, if this knee is not coming to the earth, that might be where you need to add a little support. So that might look like a block underneath it, might look like another blanket, whatever you need. But for a moment, see if you could take your 2 hands and press down on this thigh, trying to get this leg to go down. Right? It just kind of feels nice. If we had sandbags to put on our thighs, we could absolutely do that. Gorgeous. And then turning back towards our extended left leg. So I've got my fingertips on either side of my left leg. I'm trying to direct my sternum directly towards that leg. Gorgeous. I'm clawing the floor towards me slightly to lift and spread the frontal plane of the body. Then we're inhaling the arms up towards the sky, any amount. Exhale, come up, out, and over. Find the foot. Now, if I cannot touch the foot, and not everybody can. I have stupidly long arms, so it's not really fair. But if you cannot catch the foot, I want you to take your strap around the ball of the foot so you have the connection of the hands and the foot, of the padas and the hastas. Once you have connection there, you're going to inhale up halfway. So I'm not letting go of the strap. I'm not letting go of the foot. I'm just lifting and spreading the frontal plane of the body, and then maintaining any of that length that I can. On the exhale, I am bowing down over this left leg. Trying to keep my shoulders square, so there's a tendency for that right shoulder to want to lift towards the sky. Instead, I'm bringing it down. It's like I'm trying to reach the crown of my head towards my toes. Back of that left thigh heavy on the earth. Nice. Couple more breaths here. Letting ourselves be in the pose. Then release the foot of the strap. Reach the arms forward. Inhale to get long. Then exhale, navel to spine. Come back up to upright. Turn the palms away from each other. Bring the arms down. And then we're going to scoop up underneath that right knee. Help the right knee up. I'm bringing my left leg to the right slightly so I can step my right foot over the leg to bring my right foot to the floor on the outside of the left thigh. Interlacing the hands on the front of the left shin, or rather right shin, that's the right shin. We're climbing up the frontal plane of the body, shoulder blades down the back. Nice. And then we're swimming that right hand behind us. If we need to, we could use a block underneath the palm of the hand. Then we're inhaling that left arm up towards the sky. As you exhale, turn to the right and hook that right knee with the left elbow. So you're hooking the right knee with the left elbow, left foot still acting like it's touching a wall, tailbone heavy, crown of head lifting. Inhale to get long, exhale to turn any amount. Maybe you just have the palm of the hand on the knee. It's whatever you need here. And then keeping the torso turning to the right, take the chin up and over the left shoulder, looking down at the floor on the left-hand side. One more inhale here. And then exhale to release. Let's go around the other direction while we're here so nothing changes in the legs, but we are going to take the left hand behind us, right arm inside the right leg, and then use the leverage of arm against leg to turn to the left, right? Just a little rinse and release for the low back. And then exhale, back to neutral, undoing the legs. Beautiful. Back to our Dandasana. And then once again, we're not going to do the experiment on the second side. You already know what happens, but we are going to hook the left knee out to the left, reach down, catch the ankle, draw the foot in. Prop if you need to, but take a moment to push that left thigh into the ground as best you can, right? Imagining we have that sandbag right at the upper thigh. Beautiful. And yes, indeed, you could put a block underneath it or a blanket, whatever you need, so it's not just hanging in space. And then fingertips on either side of that right leg, steering your sternum directly towards that right toes. Paw the floor towards you so you can really lift and spread. Then we're inhaling the arms up any amount, exhaling, coming forward, finding the foot, finding the strap. What do you need? Gorgeous. Once you have connection, inhale up halfway, right? So you'll feel that length coming to the frontal plane. Then as you exhale, you bow down any amount. We want to be pressing the back of the right leg into the floor. There's a tendency here for the knee to bend. Don't let it happen. Breathing into whatever is happening. Yes. Keep thinking of moving the heart away from the belly button so we don't bring in all that concavity to the upper back. Nice. Gorgeous. On your next inhale, reach the arms forward, get super long. Then as you exhale, navel to spine, we come back up, turn the palms of the way, press the atmosphere down. Then scooping up underneath that left knee, bringing the left foot up. I've got to move my right leg to the left slightly. Step that left foot over, interlace the hands on the front of that left shin, climb up the ladder of the spine. Nice. Then left hand comes behind us. We inhale the right arm up. Exhale, turning to the left, either with the palm of the hand or the elbow. We hook the knee and turn from the abdomen, the rib cage, the collarbones. Keep the tailbone heavy, crown of head lifted. And then the torso is turning to the left. Let's take the chin up and over that right shoulder, looking down at the floor on the right-hand side. And exhale to release. Last bit of action here. Right hand comes behind us. We inhale the left arm up and then left arm inside left knee. Gorgeous. Turning to the right, getting that same rinse and release action. Have the shoulder blades started to lift? What happens when you draw them down? Another inhale here. And then exhale to release. Good job. All right, we're coming to Shavasana. It's time. Your work is done. Right, taking a blanket for the head. Maybe you've got your blocks to go underneath the backs of your thighs. If it's really bright where you are, perhaps you have that strap over your eyes. Arms a comfortable distance to the body. Everything relaxing. Let's open the mouths wide. Open the mouths wide, stick the tongue out, stretch the jaw, stretch the throat. Stretch, stretch, stretch. And then draw the tongue back into the mouth. Let just the lips come back to touch. And then let go yourself completely. Let loose yourself completely. Let yourself rest here in stillness and silence, knowing now there's nothing to do. Now there's nothing to do. Bringing one strand of your awareness back to hear my voice. If you need more Shavasana, I want you to stay right where you are. There is no need to be in a hurry to pop up, especially if you're recovering from anything. Others, you might be ready to move or you're time-bound in some way. And if that's you, I want you to start deepening the breath. Start bringing little movements back to the fingers and the toes, to the ankles and the wrists. And then when you feel ready, draw the knees back up into your chest. Give yourself a hug. And then very slowly, very mindfully roll to your right side. Pausing for a moment on the right side, feeling the earth beneath you. Feeling those qualities of density and stability and structure. And then the head's going to be the last thing to arrive. The eyes remain closed. You use the hand to push yourself back up to a seated position. Find balance through the pelvis, tailbone descending, crown of head ascending. Let's take the hands together in front of the heart. Palm against palm, fingers elongated. Lift the sternum to the base of the thumbs, broaden the collarbones. And on an exhalation, let the chin move forward. Let the chin move down. We're bowing to the seat of the soul. We're bowing to that divine inner wellspring of kindness, compassion, patience, and joy. The light in me is deeply honored by your light, grateful for your practice, and humbled by your presence. And in case no one's told you yet today, I love you, and I am convinced of your capacity to continue crafting a life worth living. Thank you so much for being here. Namaste.